How do you know if you have tight hip flexors that contribute to anterior pelvic tilt? You can easily run one of my favorite tests, which is known as the Thomas test. Hi, I'm Cheryl Oh, your strength and conditioning coach from ProCoach Singapore. Previously, we touched on anterior pelvic tilt, which could possibly cause you lower back pain as well as soreness on your glutes. It is important to note that a slight anterior pelvic tilt is perfectly normal. Research shows that 85% of men and 75% of women have a slight anterior pelvic tilt. Problem starts to arise when we have a more prominent tilt. Our body responds differently to pain and strain. How do you know if you have tight hip flexors that contribute to anterior pelvic tilt? You can easily run one of my favorite tests, which is known as the Thomas test. Find yourself a table that is tall enough where your foot will not touch the ground when seated. Have yourself lie in a supine position like this and have both your knees close to your chest. In this case, I would like you to have your right leg lower down while you still hold on to your left leg close to your chest. There are three things I would like you to take note of. Number one, your hip flexor, which is known as your iliopsoas. Number two, your thigh muscles, known as the rectus femoris, and the side part of your thigh muscles, which is known as the TFL. A perfect flexibility on your iliopsoas, TFL, as well as your rectus femoris will look something like this, where your thigh will actually lie flat on the table where there's no gap in between, as well as your knees will look perpendicular to the ground. A tight iliopsoas comes in when the muscles here are short. If that is the case, you'll realize that your thigh will be lifted up and there's a gap between the table and your thigh. This is where you will realize that this is tight and you're not sure if this rectus femoris is tight. If you realize this is tight, this is when your lower limb will straighten because your muscles here will be shortened as well. Last but not least, the lateral side of your thigh, which is known as the TFL, can be shown where if the toe is pointing outwards. If you realize that your legs couldn't get close to each other and is pointing outwards, it shows to say your TFL over here is very tight. And you might want to use a foam roller to roll it out. Thank you for watching. If you like my video, please share it with your friends. And if you'd like to find out more about corrective exercise strategy, call me. Our body mechanics works amazingly. This video is based on my students' suggestions, your suggestion. Let me know what I should touch on next and drop me a message. Other than that, I love you all. Stay home and stay safe. I'll be posting the next video in the next few days.